What's up, everybody? I feel like I'm a little late to the party. I've been following this Nolan Wells situation since it first came out, and it's become one of the most closely watched investigations in the U.S. over the past week because there are still some major unanswered questions surrounding the death of this boy. It's a lot of unanswered shit, and I'm just not even okay with this one right now. And it was the 18 from Ocean Spring, Mississippi. You already know what that means. You know how Mississippi get down. And he was a wide receiver from Mississippi Community College, man. He was going places. He was an accomplished young boy. He was going to go places. I know he was. It was when did he go missing? Around July 4th. Traveled by boat with several friends to Horn Island, a remote barrier island about 10 miles off the Mississippi Gulf Coast. At some point during the day, he became separated from the group. The friends returned to the mainland without him. And around 11 p.m., Nolan's parents received a call informing them he had been left behind and they reported him missing. That already don't sound like some goofy ass shit. So y'all left, y'all didn't check, y'all went back to the mainland, y'all were 10 miles off the coast. Y'all left y'all friend 10 miles off the coast? Fuck out of here. Absolutely not. If I'm out somewhere like that, ain't nobody leaving where we at without any positivity or guarantee that that person was coming with us or they at least was going back with somebody else and nobody checked. I ain't trying to hear all that. I ain't trying to say these boys did it, but I'm tired of every time black kids go away somewhere, they disappear. And then they called his parents at 11 o'clock. Oh, yeah, he's missing. Y'all called his parents, which is nice, but y'all didn't. Mm-hmm. Authorities launched a large search involving Jackson County Sheriff's Office, U.S. Coast Guard, Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, and volunteer search groups, including the United Cajun Navy. Family members also traveled to the island and made emotional public appeals on social media. His body was found on July 6th. Searchers recovered Nolan's body near the shoreline of Horn Island. So that means he drowned and his body washed up on shore. That's the only thing I could think of, unless they put his body there on purpose. That is ridiculous. That is utterly ridiculous. I don't think I'm sending my kids anywhere. Like, if there is not another black kid or a Hispanic kid or something, I'm not sending my kid nowhere with you niggas. Because y'all just out of line. Y'all are just out of line. Somebody, oh, oh. The official said there were no immediate obvious signs of traumatic injury visible at the recovery scene. A complete autopsy and toxicology testing were ordered. As of now, no official cause or manner of death has been released. Why has the case become so controversial? Well, why would the case not be controversial? I don't understand why people would ask that question every time a black. It's like that black girl was the last year she went away with her friends and she ended up dead. They saying she got so drunk she just fell off the balcony. Bitch, please. Several factors have fueled this intense public attention. Questions about the friends. Why did everyone else leave the island? Why was no one left behind? What exactly happened during the day? And why wasn't he immediately reported missing? That I have an issue with because I'm pretty sure it was confirmed that them clowns was partying the whole time. They was partying. And of course, the parent, the president, they interviewed them, but many details have not been publicly released. To his race, he was the only black kid there. We all know this. Mississippi has a history of racial violence, and many people online questioned whether race could have played a role. It always does. When you're the only black person and you're the only one to end up dead, no, come on now. Come on now. Mississippi has a history. And I know recently his parents just said they don't think race plays a part. Why would y'all think that race didn't play a part in this? Especially when we know the history of this bullshit. And y'all live in Mississippi. That's historical racial violence if I've ever seen it. Man, whatever. You know what? People gonna do them. People gonna do them. But it's a lot of questions that remain unanswered. But they did hire some civil rights attorney. They invited Ben Crump, requested transparency from investigators, and arranged for an independent autopsy outside of Mississippi because they wanted a second medical opinion. Very smart. If anything, if I was y'all, I'd bring him up to Philly for real, I'd bring his body up to Philly, or bring his body to like, it's such a far travel, but like New York somewhere, because you know Mississippi going bullshit. Everybody know Mississippi's on bullshit. It's always been on bullshit. It's one of the worst states to live in the country. Probably the worst state to live in the country, economic wise. Mississippi does not have a good economy. Never really has. Law enforcement. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office says the investigation is still active. Detectives are collecting eyewitness statements. They're reviewing photos and videos taken on Horn Island. They specifically requested original unedited media from anyone who was on the island that day, and officials have cautioned against relying on rumors circulating on social media while the evidence is still being analyzed. Yeah, it makes sense. I would be cautious too, but this shit just don't add up. Now, the reaction from us, the community, we ain't trying. There's a public protest in Ocean Springs. Vigils honoring Nolan, calls for accountability and transparency, national attention from civil rights organizations and media outlets. We ain't playing. This shit gotta stop. It gotta end somewhere. And if the boy was intoxicated, that hurts my soul. But I just too convenient. Now, what we know versus what we don't know. What we know is that Nolan traveled to Horn Island with his friends. We know his friends returned without him. He was reported missing that night. His body was found 2 days later, and the investigation is ongoing. That's what we do know. That's all the clear details that we know. Now, what we don't know is why he became separated from the group. That's something that needs to be analyzed and addressed. Why was he separated from the group? Number two, exactly what happened during his final hours. Three, his official cause and manner of death. Four, whether foul play occurred, and you know they always love to say there was no foul play, and whether criminal charges will ultimately be filed. At this stage, many theories are circulating online, but most remain unverified, and the strongest evidence available publicly is that investigators are still working to establish the facts, and the final autopsy and toxicology findings have not yet been released. Okay, okay. So it hasn't been released yet. We don't have an answer. But what I will say, and what I do need to stress, is that black people need to finally understand that our children are not protected. They're not protected. If you are sending your kid out and they got friends that aren't black, I completely don't have a problem with that. But when you send them off somewhere with those kids and there are no other black kids there, there are no black adults there, there are no Hispanic kids or Hispanic adults there, your kid's life is absolutely at risk. And I'm not saying this to just say that those white people are all racist. I'm saying your kid will be the least protected person in that environment. Your kid will be the least looked after. Your kid is most likely to die. So if I were y'all, I would really start being cautious about who y'all let y'all kids leave with, especially being in the state of Mississippi. Okay, come on. You don't know what those boys' parents teach their kids behind closed doors. Those kids could play, hey, Miss Wells, da 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 da, and then your son's their friend, and he end up unlocked. Yeah, I'm not saying those boys did it directly. I'm saying there is some weird contention to how they've reacted to this whole situation. So we're gonna have to keep tabs on this one, just like we're keeping tabs on our Carmelo Anthony case. And we got to keep our put our foot on the tiger's neck at all times as a community. This is a year where I think black people should learn we need to really drop all this bullshit and really get down to business and start sticking with it to some degree, because this ain't going down so smoothly anymore. So remember, I'll keep y'all in touch. Y'all keep me in touch, and I'll be keeping a close eye on this investigation as much as I can. So let me know how y'all feel down below. Like, comment, subscribe for more, and I'll see y'all on the next one.